us moms have bad days from time to time. And I'll be the first one to admit that I have a lot of bad days. There are a lot of days that are just really, really huge struggles and they're really difficult and the kids are miserable or I'm miserable or a combination of the two. And so we have a lot of bad days. And sometimes those days are just bad mom days. Like mom isn't happy, and sadly, if mom isn't happy, then nobody's happy. I recently saw my friend Lindsay at Momma Schmooze Reviews share a video all about tips for the bad mom days. And since she did it as an open collab, I thought I would join in. Let me first give you just a little bit of background on myself. So I'm a homeschooling mom of 5 kids ages 4 through 12. I have 4 boys and 1 girl. A few of our kids have some special needs or difficult personalities in the mix. And so that makes for difficult days on a pretty regular basis. Now, one of the things that I have tried to do over the years is just to not let those days get me down, but it is not always possible. When you have a child who is having meltdowns or is having sensory overload or who is just downright miserable, it's really hard to have a positive attitude and to smile. And so we have been faced with a lot of those days, even recently. My 4-year-old is very, very difficult. And when my other children were 4 years old, they were not this difficult. So if you have any tips for difficult 4-year-olds, please put those down in the comments below because I would love to hear your tips. He is just a very stubborn, wild, loud, busy child. And so he makes it really hard even just to have any peace and quiet in the house. And I'm an introvert and I need peace and quiet. And when it is loud and noisy all the time, or when someone is just talking to me like all the time, even if I'm trying to do work with the other kids or trying to clean or do whatever, he is always there just talking. And it's just exhausting. And I know part of it has to do with the fact that he's the youngest of 5. He's the baby of the family. He's a little bit spoiled, especially by his siblings. And so it just makes things a little bit difficult. I know I sometimes feel like I have just 24/7 sensory overload because with 5 kids in the house all the time, it just gets really noisy and just a little bit chaotic. And I do not have calm, quiet children. I just don't. My kids have a ton of energy. They are loud and they are talkative and they are just busy. And so, yeah, it's just never very calm in my house. And today I'm just going to share with you a few tips on how to survive those bad mom days. My first tip would always be to get up before the kids. On those days when I'm really tired and I don't wake up until they do, I pay for it. I really do. I kind of start the day in the middle of a hot mess rather than waking up early and having time to get myself ready, to make some coffee, to maybe read my Bible and devotions, or even just to kind of get on social media and chat with some friends and just have a little bit of time just to myself. When I wake up a little bit later, I don't get any of those things and I just have to kind of like plow ahead, and then it just goes until the kids' heads hit their pillows that night. It is just constant busyness. And so if I'm able to take that time in the morning just for myself, it makes a huge difference. Tip number 2 is to create a time of the day when the kids have to be off. It can be quiet time or nap time or reading time, but a time of the day when they need to be off by themselves or maybe with a couple of siblings. It depends on how big your family is. I mean, we have 5 kids. There's not enough space for them to kind of be off in different spots all by themselves. So I will send the younger boys up to their rooms, the older kids to their bedrooms, and say, okay, we're going to take an hour. You're going to stay in your rooms, you're going to read, you're going to play quietly, and you're just going to give mama an hour to have some peace and quiet. Because like I said, I'm an introvert and I just need peace and quiet. I just do. I feel like a crazy person. How many of you guys can relate to that? Like this video if you can relate to that. I feel like a crazy person if I do not get peace and quiet. So it is so important for me to just get a little bit of peace and quiet every day. Tip number 3 kind of goes along with tip number 2, and it is make your kids play outside. Take them outside, or if you are fortunate enough to have a yard where they can play by themselves or a fenced in yard or something like that, send them out by themselves. You can stay inside, get some peace and quiet again, and then have them get some of that energy out. Let them be noisy. Kids will be kids. Let them play and be noisy and have fun. And then when they come back inside, they're a little bit more tired than they were when they went outside, and it's just usually a little bit more calm in the house and a little bit quieter, which I always appreciate. Tip number 4 for a day when I just feel like I am hanging on by a thread. One of the things that I will do is I will do a poetry tea time. My kids love poetry tea time, and when I just feel like I really can't do the homeschooling thing the way that I really want to, I will take a break and we'll get some snacks and we'll make some tea and we will do a poetry tea time. And that is just one of our absolute favorite things to do, and it is good for all of us because I enjoy it and they enjoy it, and it really does calm them down having some tea and having to listen to some poetry or listen to a read aloud, and that's really fun for all of us. And then tip number 5 would be to, at the end of the day, make sure you get some time to yourself, some time to just kind of like chill out and veg, even if it's like binge watching a show or reading a book or chatting with a friend. A great thing to do would be able to get out of the house with a friend and grab some coffee if you're able to do that. And I think for me, when I'm able to do those things, the next day goes better. I'm not as like pre-burnt out for the following day. And so if I'm going to have a bad mom day the following day, it'll be less bad because I've had time the previous night to kind of just get some time to myself and kind of recharge a little bit. So those are just a few tips on how I attempt to conquer those bad mom days. And I'm telling you, they are more frequent than I would like to admit. But I think that's just part of life with 5 kids, homeschooling with some special needs mixed in, and a mom who is an introvert who is easily stressed out. It just is a recipe for disaster a lot of the time. So I try very, very much to have a positive attitude and to be patient, which I struggle with so much. If I can be patient, those hard days can go a lot more smoothly. So if you have any tips that you want to share, please put them in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out Lindsay's channel, Momma Schmooze Reviews, to see what she shared. And she made this an open collab. So if you want to join in and share how you conquer those bad mom days or tips for other moms, please go ahead and do that. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.